A jacket of a federal informant you wear the rest of your life. It follows you the rest of your life. The only way you get that jacket off, tell the truth. It was never Azriel's intention to be a federal informant. It was never her intention to flip on Robert. It was never her intention to testify against him. Larry McGee destroyed Azriel Clary's life. When he turned her into a federal informant, when he flipped her and told her essentially to cooperate with the feds. In doing so, she wore a wiretap with Richard Arline, and she gave him the warehouse information where they got 100 devices. All of that came from her, which makes her a bona fide federal informant. That's what Larry McGee flipped her into, because she went and stayed at his house because he was a federal informant with a hidden agenda. He took a young female and destroyed her future. The smartest thing Azriel should have done was stay quiet, lay low, work on her music, and then let the music speak for itself. Because the mystery of who she was and what was her story and people wanting to know would have drove people not only to her social media platforms, but drove her to buy her music, because they would have been hoping there would have been snippets of things about her relationship in her music. And the longer she stayed quiet, the less she talked, the more her music would have spoke and her talent would have spoke for her. But Larry didn't give a fuck about that. Larry didn't give a fuck about how much her parents invested in her career. Larry didn't give a fuck about her future plans as a singer and an artist. Larry didn't give a fuck about Azriel Clary or Joy Savage or the Clarys or the Savage. Larry gave a damn about Larry. Azriel becoming a federal informant led to her downfall. When she went to Larry McGee's house, that was the beginning of the end for her. Because she left there, she went to the Trump, went live, got into a fight, started yelling things, and then went on to be recorded talking to the feds. That was put all over social media. And she gave an interview where she said she shit in a cup and ate it, and was beat with a size 12 shoe. At that point, the drama and the salacious details overpowered any career, any potential for success in music that she had. Because now all people cared about was the mess, the drama, the salacious details. And you can't come behind that and then try to sell music. It just doesn't work. The reverse would have worked. Had she stayed quiet, worked on her music, and then put her music out, it would have sold like crazy, because people would have wanted to know her story. But the success was in not telling the story. The success was in the mystery, being very mysterious, being very quiet, and letting the talent speak, letting the voice speak, letting the career do the talking. Then she could have been very successful. But Larry wasn't thinking about her. Larry wasn't thinking about her career or her talent or what her mother and father invested in her, or the years and years of her practicing, the years and years of her trying to make it in the business. He didn't give a fuck about that. He cared about keeping his ass out of jail. So he did what was expedient. He did what was in his best interest, and he did what was going to save his ass. He destroyed Azriel Clary. He destroyed her life. He destroyed her career. Larry McGee did that. And she has a obligation to herself. Part of her healing is telling the truth. Part of her recovering from the trauma that Larry McGee did to her is her telling the truth. Azriel can save Azriel. Nobody else can do it. And all she has to do is tell the truth of what happened in that man's house. Only she knows what happened. But if she doesn't tell the truth, if she continues to go along with his version of what happened, the lie that he's putting out there, she will wear the jacket of federal informant the rest of her life. She will never have a career. She will never be successful. And no one will ever want to come around her because she's a snitch. A jacket of a federal informant you wear the rest of your life. It follows you the rest of your life. The only way you get that jacket off, tell the truth. It was never Azriel's intention to be a federal informant. It was never her intention to flip on Robert. It was never her intention to testify against him. Being a federal informant stays with you the rest of your life. Testifying against someone that you were with for 5 years who you said you loved, and because someone flipped you and convinced you you're a victim, sending that person to prison for the rest of their lives, you'll have to live with the rest of your life. Knowing that Robert Kelly is going to spend 30 years in prison because of Azriel telling him about a warehouse, wiretapping Richard Arline, knowing that that call wasn't what they said it was, all because she was being manipulated by Larry McGee. Azriel Clary will have to live with the consequences of those actions. She will have to live with the knowing that she sent a man to prison for the rest of her life. She will have to live with the knowing that she destroyed her career, destroyed her future happiness, destroyed her freedom by listening to a federal informant, allowing herself to be manipulated by that federal informant, and not coming forward and telling the truth. Everybody used Azriel, and everybody benefited. Larry McGee used her more than anybody because he needed to stay out of jail. He needed a 5K1 letter. He used a 20-something-year-old female to save his own ass. So he benefited. The feds benefited. All of them got promotions and raises and accommodations on their job because they landed a whale. The only person that didn't benefit is the person that the feds and Larry McGee used, and that's Azriel. She got fucked by Larry McGee. She got fucked by the feds, and all she got was a $3,000 couch and a little money from a few interviews. But her career is over. Her life is over because she now has the jacket of federal informant that she'll have to wear the rest of her life. All around the globe, she's known as the person that snitched on Robert Kelly, the artist R. Kelly. She's known as the person that sent him to prison for the rest of his life. And she will have to live with that for the duration of her life. So because she went to Larry's house, because she trusted someone that she shouldn't have trusted, and she allowed him to manipulate her, she has ruined her life. And Larry McGee stood on her uterus, stood on her throat, and capitalized on her relationship with her father, her inability to understand what was going on. And he positioned himself like an uncle, like someone she could trust. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he did worse to her than anything he could have ever accused Robert of. Because there's nothing worse than being 23 years old and now you're a federal informant the rest of your life. There's nothing worse than being 23 years old and now you can never have a career in the music industry, nothing that's substantial, because you're known all around the world as the person that shit in a cup, that sent the king of R&B to prison, that flipped and is a federal informant. There's nothing worse than knowing you can't go anywhere without people whispering about you. That's where her life is right now. If I were her strategist, if I were her friend, if I were someone giving her advice, I would tell Azriel, tell the truth. Write out every single detail that happened at Larry's house by yourself, no one else around, step by step as you remember it. And do a video and upload it to your channel and put your truth out there, because the media will grab onto it and run with it. And then you go give your statement to John Lausch, the person who is the head of the BOP investigation into the stolen jail records. How Larry McGee got the information is not your concern. Your only concern is what happened when you were in his house. What did he say to you? What did his mother say to you? What did his daughter say? What did his wife say? What documents did he show you? How much pressure did he put on you? What was he instructing you to do? What did he tell you to do in going into Chicago? Whose idea was it that you go to Chicago? How many times did he call you when you were in Chicago, and what did he instruct you to do? Who put you on the telephone with the feds? Who gave you your first contact with the feds? I would write all of that out in the quiet of my own space, and I would tell the truth about that week under Larry McGee's roof with him, his wife, his daughter, his mother. And I would do a video, record it, and upload it to social media so that the world can see. My truth would be out there, because I would want my truth to be known. You can't have a legal ending to an illegal beginning. If the beginning was illegal, and it was, then what happened thereafter was illegal. So whatever happened in the relationship with Robert, some of the details may have been true, some of them may have been exaggerated, some of them may have been false. But how it started, how you got to the point of being 100% for Robert and then being against Robert, that was skewed, and it was tainted, and it was illegal, because you were coerced, manipulated, and brainwashed. I would tell her, do a video, record it, be 100% honest, tell the truth, and upload it on all your social media platforms. And get your truth out there so the world knows. You don't tell a partial story and then say, I'm standing in my truth. Because that's not the truth. This man, according to him, used, manipulated, brainwashed, destroyed the career of Azriel Clary, and then bought her a couch. She will forever be known as a federal informant. She will forever carry the jacket of someone who worked with the feds, cooperated with the feds, and then snitched on the king of R&B, made sure he went to jail for 30 years because she was responsible for 90% of the charges in New York, and bringing our line and the 100 devices. I don't know if anything was on them or shown during the court, but she was responsible for all of that. And it was ill-gotten gains. If I were advising her, I'd tell her she owes it to herself to tell the truth. And she owes it to everyone to be honest. This was the day that changed Azriel's life forever. January 8th, 2020. She went to Chicago. She got into the fight with Joy. She went live. And when Larry McGee called her, he had the feds on the phone. And she, at that time, destroyed her life at the behest of Larry McGee. If I were advising this young lady, I would tell her, write out your truth in great detail of everything that happened from the moment you met Larry McGee, how you ended up at his house, and every single detail that happened while you were under his roof. I would record it by myself, no one around, no one influencing me, and I would put that on my YouTube channel. And I would let the world hear the truth, because the news media would run with it and they would cover it. And once that happened, once the truth is out there, then I would go talk to the U.S. Attorney, John Lausch, and tell him the truth. No one knows what happened to Azriel that week she stayed with Larry McGee except Azriel. And no one can tell the truth of that except Azriel. I would encourage her, if I were her mother and father, to tell the truth, because I would want her free from the jacket of being a federal informant that her parents introduced to her by bringing Larry McGee into her life. But most important, Azriel is the only person that can save Azriel. And the truth is how you do that. You were not a victim. You were not an informant. You were not traumatized before you went to Larry McGee's house. He bombarded you with information. He told you stories that he wanted you to know. They were not vetted. They were not verified. You don't know if any of that was fact-checked. And everybody had an agenda. Everybody had something to gain by manipulating the mindset of Azriel Clary. She has to save herself. And there's only one way to do that, and that is the truth. And the best way to do that, write out your truth, record it, upload it to your social media, and let the world know your truth. And then go down to the U.S. Attorney's Office, give a deposition, give your truth, and follow the chain that leads to. Azriel will not be in trouble because she is the victim of Larry McGee. I don't believe her mother and father would be in trouble either, because according to Angelo and according to Larry, that's not where the information came from, and Angelo didn't know what was going on in the house. According to Larry, this was his brainchild, and he got the information either directly or indirectly, from a combination of people that had the jail records. Tasha K, Tim Savage, and Angelo Clary. Probably just from having conversations, but he did use it to manipulate the outcome of a federal witness, to flip her, and to manipulate the outcome of a federal trial. Azriel Clary is the person that can tell the story of that, and that is what she should do to free herself. Tell the truth, Zell. Tell the truth. Stand in your truth. That would be my advice to you.